I will announce that as well. If you heard the little recording in progress, this is considered a public meeting of the Minnesota-Mississippi River Parkway Commission for the Grand Rapids to Brainerd region. And so we are being live streamed to YouTube for any members of the public that wish to watch the meeting today. It'll also be taped for anyone that wants to join in at another time. So if you hear that little beep, that's what it's all about. And I'm going to go ahead and try to put up a screen share. And do you all see a nice big Great River Road logo in front of you along with some other things? Okay, wonderful. We will go ahead and call today's meeting to order. This is the Minnesota-Mississippi River Parkway Commission regional meeting for the Crossings region, which is the Grand Rapids to Brainerd. And we'll take a peek at the agenda quickly, and then I will ask everyone to introduce themselves, and I'll call you out in the order that I see you, kind of like the old Romper Room TV show in just a second here, but we'll take a peek at the agenda. First of all, we'll start with that welcome and introductions, and I guess I should start by telling you who I am speaking at you here. This is Chris Miller, and I am with the Parkway Commission. I serve as the director and staff to the commission and support the members in their work, and so I'm very pleased to see you all here today, and I'll be helping facilitate today's meeting. And today at the meeting, we'll be talking a bit about the 10-state Great River Road that we're part of, the Minnesota Great River Road and what that includes. Our important business today, it's all important, but a key piece of business is electing our regional commissioner for a 2-year term, and we'll talk a bit more about that later. But we really appreciate you taking some time today to weigh in on that election. And then we'd like to hear from you about your regional updates, what's happening in the area, so that we can better promote things that are happening or work with you on things that will be coming up in the area. So with that, I'll bring us to a map of our Minnesota Great River Road while we do introductions. And this does show you the full route, which we'll talk about a little later. We are talking today about that, I guess, teal or turquoise blue region on the map from Grand Rapids, actually to Little Falls on this map. And so we appreciate you being here once again today. And I will just start with who I see in order below my little picture, asking for some introductions. If you could tell us who you are and what organization you're with and what your interest is in the Great River Road or Mississippi River, that would be really helpful to everyone here. So I see Diane first.
Hi, I'm Diane Henry Wagenstein. I work with the Legislative Coordinating Commission, and the Legislative Coordinating Commission provides it's a fiscal agent for the Mississippi River Parkway Commission. And been working there for a while and have great interest and have attended a lot of MRPC meetings. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Diane. And Jeff, welcome.
Hello, Jeff Cook. I'm with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I run the dam here in Grand Rapids and the one up on Winnie, both directly affecting the flow of the Mississippi River. So that's why I'm here today.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Lila, good afternoon. Good to see you.
Hello, my name is Lila Crow. I'm the Executive Director at the Itasca County Historical Society. We just opened up the River Room. We are an interpretive site for the Mississippi River in Itasca County. So a little bit north of Grand Rapids and going down south to Macon County.
Thank you, Lila. Lily.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lily Smith. I'm the marketing coordinator for Visit Grand Rapids. Because we do destination marketing, we follow the Mississippi, and it's a huge attraction for people that come to the Grand Rapids area because it is a crossroads, and also because we have 2 interpretive sites in the Grand Rapids area.
Welcome, Lily. Thank you. And Tim.
I am Tim Wilcox. I'm a landscape architect with MnDOT. I am the Great River Road program manager for MnDOT. I've been here going on a good full year now.
Thank you, Tim. Megan.
She's having issues with sound.
Yeah, I don't.
So give her a minute.
Oh, still can't hear you. We'll move on. We'll keep going down the list. I'll come back to you, Meg, in just a second. David, we'll move on to you.
Hi, I'm David Kelleher with the Minnesota Historical Society. I'm a member of the MRPC representing the Minnesota Historical Society. I'm also sort of newish member of the Culture and Heritage Committee for the National MRPC, along with our vice chair of the Minnesota Commission, John Anfinson. He's I believe John's chairing that committee. And just very excited to learn more about what's happening up and down the river. And of course, the Minnesota Historical Society has a number of historic sites along the Great River Road, including the Forest History Center right there in Grand Rapids, your neighbors. So very excited to be here and learn more about what everyone's working on.
Thank you, David. I'm going to circle back. It looked like Megan was maybe signaling to me.
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Good morning, or good afternoon, everyone. Megan Christensen. I am the director of Visit Grand Rapids, and I serve on the Mississippi Parkway Commission from Grand Rapids to Brainerd.
Thank you, Megan. And let me see. I think, are we on to Mark?
Yes, good afternoon. Mark Jeffers. I'm the Economic Development Coordinator for Aiken County. The Mississippi River and the Great River Road are near and dear to our hearts as a recreational and tourist destination, and excited to hear all the different things that are going on around that territory. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. And Derek, welcome.
Thank you. Derek Ramthin, Explore Minnesota Tourism. I'm the Northeast Industry Relations Rep, so I represent everywhere from International Falls down to Grand Rapids and the Iron Range, and then over to the North Shore. And this is my first meeting, so I appreciate the invite and looking forward to learning more about the Great River Road.
Thank you, Derek. And Kathy, welcome.
Good afternoon. So I'm Kathleen Ryan. I'm actually work at Aiken County, but I'm the chair of our Water Trails Committee, and just excited to hear what's happening. We're very, like Mark said, very, very passionate about the Mississippi River, and just want to promote that in our area.
Wonderful. Welcome, Kathy. Thank you. And Hunter, I see you next.
Yeah, I'm Hunter Simonson. I work with the Army Corps of Engineers at the Sandy Lake Dam on Big Sandy Lake. And this is also my first meeting, so.
Wonderful. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. And I also see a notation. Sorry, I can't identify you by name, but it says GARC Chamber of Commerce. I would ask for your introduction. Oh, we can't hear. I think you're muted, sir.
Sorry about that. I am Mark Rudolph. I'm the Grand Rapids Area Chamber of Commerce President, and this is also my first meeting, so thank you.
Thank you for being here. Did I miss anyone as people have been coming in? I do see a phone line that has come in, I believe. 218, oh gracious, without my glasses, 259-0572. If you're able to speak to us, we're just doing introductions. We welcome you. Okay, I think we'll just go ahead for now. Have I missed anyone else? We're really pleased to have you all here. And Megan, as our regional commissioner, are there a couple words of welcome that you'd like to say or anything as we start the meeting?
Yes, I just want to welcome everyone to this meeting. I did do some invites out to people like Lila Crow at the Historical Society, Mark Rudolph, Jeff Cook, and some others. So thank you guys for being here. I think that the more of us that really realize what the Mississippi River Parkway Commission does and is in charge of, my role on this committee I see as that person that finds balance between the conservation of the river and making sure the good water quality and the economic development perspective. So I represent tourism and hospitality, and Mark fills all the other gaps. So that's the one reason I wanted Mark on the call today is, with the Chamber of Commerce, he represents such a diverse group of businesses, from industrial to small business. And we're a Mississippi River community that runs right through the downtown. Both Mark and I, our office is about half a block for Mark, to the Mississippi River, and it's a really important piece of our community here. I think that the piece that I'm excited for is, you know, the Mississippi River Parkway Commission has been working with the National Association on looking at things maybe a little differently from some of our interpretive sites. Typical interpretive sites that are given designation have to have manned hours, they have to have exhibits or displays that really you know, highlight the Mississippi River and tell that story of the Mississippi River. The challenge with that is several locations, like in Aiken, they really don't have an opportunity to have a location that meets all those credentials. So, you know, we're talking about, you know, orientation centers or, you know, different words that they've been considering, but I really look forward to this opportunity because I do think that there are many places off the beaten path that people are going since COVID, and it does give us an opportunity to really highlight the wonderful small rural communities that we have here in Minnesota. You know, Lila Crow has been working really hard for her river room, and it's great. Lily and I did a little live video, and we've been doing some social promotion around it, but not every community has the capacity to have something like that. So I look forward to future conversations around that. That's about all I have, Chris.
Wonderful. Thank you, Meg. Thanks so much for those words. We appreciate that context as well. And thank you also for the additional invitations that you sent out. If you would be willing to share those email addresses with me and those of you that are on the line, we'd love to add you to our regional list so that we pick you up on the invitation next time around. So thank you for being here. Tim Wilcox, who introduced himself a little earlier, is with the Minnesota Department of Transportation, is their Great River Road Program Manager, and MnDOT manages the Great River Road itself under statute in partnership with the Parkway Commission. And so Tim and I will be going back and forth a little bit here, sharing some information with you before we do our regional commissioner election and voting. We're happy to take questions if we can see you raise hands as we're going, or we will have time at the end. We'll try to make sure we leave some time for discussion. So some of the areas here we won't go into heavy detail on, hoping to leave some time and keep you to around an hour. But just to set the stage a bit here, you see our Minnesota Mississippi River Parkway Commission mission, and it is to preserve, promote, and enhance the scenic, historic, and recreational resources of the Mississippi River, to foster economic growth in the corridor, and to develop the national scenic and historic byway known as the Great River Road. And we're very pleased right now to be able to call the Great River Road an All-American Road, as you see in the logo on the top right. That is a brand new designation earned just in 2021 here over the last year, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But all of you helped make that happen, and so we're really pleased to be able to share that with the world. Generally, for these regional meetings, we invite a list of partners and stakeholders who share interest in this mission and work on things related to the river and Great River Road. We have community tourism offices on our list, convention visitors bureaus, chambers, cities, counties, state parks, interpretive centers, and others. And so we really appreciate you being here today. And just to give a little context on where Minnesota fits within all this, the Minnesota Great River Road and Parkway Commission are part of a national 10-state Mississippi River Parkway Commission and Great River Road. 10 states, one river. Sometimes you'll see the term Canada to both, because at one time there were actually Great River Road spurs that reached into Canada and some tributaries that come down this way. But it is 10 states involved in this effort. The concept was born in about 1938 to create a parkway along the full length of the Mississippi River. And it is a collection of roads, as you see here on this graphic. It's not one road, which is a beautiful thing and sometimes a confusing thing. It brings you to the best of the river, but it does mean that you take twists and turns along the way too. So it is a collection of roads that welcome visitors, and it is designed to give people the best view of the sense of place of the Mississippi River and tell the stories of people and landscapes along the way. So you can see our 9 other state partners here. There is a 10-state Great River Road map, also a 10-state Great River Road website. We'll talk about that here in a minute, and a variety of things that we do at the 10-state level to promote all the communities. So some examples of the 10-state Great River Road projects are shown for you here. On the far right, you'll see the cover of our most current map. And this features a map of all 10 states. We wouldn't call it a drivable map. It's a promotional map. You can't follow it road for road along the way, but it gives you a feel for where the route is located. It also features the specially designated Great River Road interpretive centers. All 10 states work together under a corridor management plan to guide their work. They do things together every year and ongoing, such as Drive the Great River Road Month. Every September, there's a 10-state promotion where we really encourage people to get out and experience the route and all the local communities along the route. So that'll be coming again in September of 2022. This past September in 2021, we promoted our All-American Road designation once again, that you'll hear a bit more about later. The National Great River Road also does themed promotions for all 10 states. Things like flavors of the Great River Road would be an example where local communities were invited to submit their favorite flavors, whether it would be a recipe or a local eatery or a special food, something that represents their area of the river. So again, it's something that can bring local specialties and communities to a wider audience. And so we're pleased to have those things available to us. The printed map we mentioned, I do have a few of those on hand right now if you're interested. We are in short supply on that one right now as the national office looks at developing more, but let me know if you'd like to see one of those or a few in person, and I will work on that for you. The 10-state group also does meetings of the full group twice each year, an annual meeting every fall and a semi-annual meeting in the spring. And those meetings had been done in person, rotated between the different states. We hosted most recently in Minnesota in St. Cloud in 2015. So again, a really nice opportunity to showcase a local community to our partners from the other 9 states. Right now, we have been doing Zoom meetings most recently for obvious reasons, travel changes, et cetera. So we're not sure how that will play out going forward, but again, it's a good chance for all 10 states to network. There are also 4 technical committees that work on projects at the 10-state level. David mentioned that he's part of the Culture and Heritage Committee that works with interpretive centers. There's one that works with marketing that Megan has been involved with, also transportation that Tim is a member of, and environment, recreation, and agriculture, which we call ERA for short. And they're working on things right now like potential projects in pollinator habitat along the byway. One of the premier things that the 10-state Great River Road does is manage a network of specially designated Great River Road interpretive centers. And you heard that mentioned a little bit earlier. We do have 13 in Minnesota right now, and you see them kind of loosely represented by the stars on this map. They are selected through a nomination process. Nominations are submitted to the Culture and Heritage Committee at the 10-state level, and they then recommend a designation to the board. And so there are 13 centers here in Minnesota, and our most recent designee is the Itasca County Historical Society. We're very proud to add them to this list. And so the 13 centers that we have in Minnesota right now are Itasca State Park, the Forest History Center in your area, Itasca County Historical Society, the Charles Lindbergh House and Museum, the Oliver Kelly Farm, Mill City Museum in Minneapolis, Historic Fort Snelling, the Minnesota History Center, Science Museum of Minnesota, National Park Service Visitor Center, the National Eagle Center in Wabasha, Minnesota Marine Art Museum, and Winona County History Center. So there's variety in those, and we're excited to have them and be able to promote them in Minnesota. And I believe now that Tim is going to talk a bit about the Minnesota Great River Road, and I'll come back to you a little bit later. So Tim, let me know if you're ready to jump on. Anyone have questions at this point as we switch?
Okay, so from the source of the Mississippi River in Lake Itasca to the soaring bluffs along Minnesota's South Shore, Minnesota's Great River Road spans 565 miles, offering 6 destination areas that highlight 20 counties, 43 communities, and 3 tribes. The Great River Road celebrates and provides access to some of our state's iconic archaeological, cultural, historic, natural, recreational, and scenic attractions. The Mississippi River, Minnesota's first scenic State Scenic Byway under the Commissioner of Transportation. It's primarily located on the Great River Road shoulders, but includes off-road trails near where the river is available. The All-American Road is managed under state statute by MnDOT in partnership with the Minnesota Mississippi River Parkway Commission. The commission includes, on this as you can see on the graphic, includes 2 House, 2 state Senate members, the Department of Transportation, the DNR, and Ag, Explore Minnesota Tourism, and the Minnesota Historical Society, as well as 5 regional citizen members and 1 at-large member, plus the Mississippi National River and Recreation Area unit of the National Park Service. All right, let's see. Okay, so from the, oops, wrong slide. So this slide here is the highest level. Was it last year we had the Great River Road became an All-American Road designation. So it went from a scenic byway all the way up to All-American Road. So this is the highest level of byway designation awarded by the Federal Highway Administration. 8 of 10 states, including Minnesota, submitted nominations in 2020 and were notified designation in early 2021. The nominations must highlight 2 features of the national or international significance, demonstrating how the byway is a destination unto itself. Minnesota highlighted historic and scenic features in the nomination. So this slide is just kind of details the All-American Road details. So for more information on what it means to be an All-American Road and why the Minnesota Great River Road earned this honor, you can visit the All-American Road page on our website. So it's mnmississippiriver.com. There's also a page where you can add your own All-American favorite place along the Minnesota Great River Road. So the work of the Minnesota Mississippi River Parkway Commission and management of the Great River Road is guided by a corridor management plan, or CMP for short. The full plan and supporting materials are available at the website mnmississippiriver.com under the About Us tab. So we have the wayfinding and signage. So you can look for the green pilot's wheel. You can kind of see it there on the top part of the sign, the white and the green backing. So look, that is all along, it's signed throughout the whole 565 miles of the route, which were put up in 2018. A CMP inventory of these revealed that prior to 2018, 22% of the wayfinding signs were missing and 32% were in need of repair or incomplete. The route is generally only signed where you need to turn. So missing a sign, missing sign is kind of a detriment to a successful byway experience. All right. So we have a new website. It was completely redesigned, launched in February of 2020 with visual priority, mobile device friendly, and its main focus is on plan your trip mapping and digital guide travel. So hopefully at the end of this, I can give you a little tour of that website. Plan your trip. Okay, so plan your trip is an interactive mapping and can be accessed on the mnmississippiriver.com. This is to help travelers plan a trip and explore Minnesota's Great River Road while driving along it. And it provides an interactive map for potential and current byway explorers with the Great River Road and Mississippi Road travel alignments. There are over 700 travel resources that express the natural, scenic, historic, recreation, and natural qualities of Minnesota's Mississippi River. There are currently some upgrades to some of the signage that are coming up with our interpretive plans or interpretive signs, excuse me. In addition, Minnesota Grow members are on there, Amtrak stations, major airports, excursion ports, and 20 other scenic byway, and the other Minnesota's other 20 scenic byways are also on there. So next slide. There are also digital travel guides on here that you can scroll through. There are 6 of those. So we have 6 regional travel guides. They tell the stories and highlight special places of 6 unique Minnesota Great River Road regions. They're a travel guide to state parks along the Great River Road, and this was developed for Drive the Great River Road month of 2020. So it's in September of 2020 is the Great River, or September is our Drive the Great River Road month. Other specialized guides may be developed here in the future. We also have a print map. So this was designed by MnDOT staff. We have content feedback from the Mississippi River Parkway Commission. We have interpretive centers and marketing partners. There are 80,000 copies printed in 2020 for our 2-year distribution. And if you are interested in one, I think Chris mentioned earlier, you can contact the MNMRPC office to request a copy.
Tim, I'll jump in on you for a second, give you a break here. So yeah, all of you, when you see this Minnesota Great River Road map, this one we do have very good quantity available of right now. It looks much like a state highway map would look when it folds up and shows the full route in a pretty drivable form, the interpretive centers and also community insets on the back and examples of things to see and do. They are in storage at our printing company, but I can make requests for those anytime. So if you are interested in distributing some of those, reach out to me anytime. We can make a request for you, and we're pleased to be able to share them right now. We might not always have that kind of supply, but right now we're in really good shape, and we just appreciate your help in getting those out to the world. Thanks, Tim.
Yep. Okay. So we've been working on an ambassador program, and the goals of our ambassador program are to develop and strengthen the Minnesota Mississippi River Parkway Commission, partnerships with the byway attractions, and to leverage improved value from cooperative Minnesota and 10 state efforts. 2 is to provide ambassadors with resources, materials, training to maximize their time and talent. And 3 is to confirm and update Minnesota Great River Road attraction information included in the Plan Your Trip and other marketing, and also encourage Mississippi River exploration and stewardship. Our initial ambassadors are Great River Road interpretive centers and community tourism offices. And for our future ambassadors, we're hoping the Plan Your Trip traveler resource site managers and staff and other Great River Road attractions, Minnesota Grow members and businesses.
Great, thank you, Tim. And I'll pick on Lila. I won't call her out directly, but she has been a participant in this ambassador program already and received an orientation session and some materials afterwards. So we covered some of the same material today, but went into quite a bit more detail on how to use the various information tools and update those. We might get a chance to look at that a little bit more today, but Lila knows what that program is about. So if you have questions, she might be able to share some information with you. I think it's my turn again, and we are moving quickly, so save your questions and we'll have some good time for discussion, hopefully. Back to talking about the Minnesota Mississippi River Parkway Commission. This is a larger version of the graphic you saw a little bit earlier. The commission is authorized under Minnesota statute, I believe it's 161.1419, that defines the commission and who is to be included and how it is to do its work. And so again, you see the breakdown here, and we do have 2 members of the Minnesota Senate, 2 members of the House. Our current chair is Senator David Senjum, and I know he would send his greetings to you today. He is very interested in things happening up and down the river as well. 2 members of the House, 1 from each of 5 geographic segments of the Great River Road. And so that's part of what we're doing here today, is electing your local representative. We have 1 at-large member that the other members appoint. And then we have 5 state agency members appointed by their agency leaders. And so David Kelleher, who is with us today, represents the Historical Society on the commission. And it's really a special blend of people coming together to talk about all things Great River Road and Mississippi River. And they're able to do a lot of great things. We appreciate them. I serve as staff support for the commission. The Legislative Coordinating Commission, who you heard about earlier, provides administrative and fiscal support. So it does kind of take a village here to raise that Great River Road and bring it along its way. The Parkway Commission does hold regular quarterly business meetings, and we don't have meetings scheduled yet for 2022, but you'll see a link here, and I could send that to any of you that are interested. meeting information is always posted there. You can find agendas, meeting packets. You can view any of the past meetings, or most of them. They're on YouTube, available for you as well. We do, have a technical snafu once in a while, so I shouldn't say all, but those meetings are available for the public. The commission does like to have reports on what is happening in local areas of the river. They sometimes consider requests for letters of support for projects that are happening and seeking funding. So let me know along the way if there's something you'd like shared at a commission meeting, if you'd like to speak to the commission, if you'd like to request a letter from them, and I'll be happy to carry that forward. Right now, it's been a bit travel friendly. We've been doing these meetings via Zoom as well. I'm not sure how long that will be the case. When we were in person, the meetings were held at the state office building or the Senate building in St. Paul. So that is a bit about how the commission works. Today, we're focusing on our regional commissioners. And this slide shows you a bit about what our regional commissioners do. And all commissioners have responsibilities to enact the Parkway Commission mission at national, state, and local levels, participate in those 4 quarterly business meetings of the Minnesota Commission. As they're able to, participate in the national meetings and national committees, and support special events and activities related to the Mississippi River or Great River Road. The regional commissioners have some extra responsibility, and that is really to be the connection back and forth between the communities of the region and the commission itself. At one time, the commission did not have regional commissioners. They were added after the previous corridor management plan in about the year 2000. So they have not always been there, but honestly, I cannot imagine working without them and having their connections to the local areas. And so that is what we ask our regional commissioners to do. Once again, according to statute, the commission does include those 5 regional commissioners. You may have noticed we have 6 regions or destination areas, but 5 commissioners, and that's because 2 of the areas are combined. We call that the Headwaters Northwoods from Lake Itasca to Grand Rapids, and so that is combined into 1 representative region. Commissioners currently serve 2-year terms, and one of today's purposes is to elect a commissioner for a new 2-year term. That term length could change at some point in the future, but is currently 2 years. Those members are to be elected by citizen committees from the region, and we don't necessarily hold committee meetings, every month or anything like that, but we work with a group of partners and stakeholders from throughout the region to request applications for commissioner candidates and then elect that commissioner as well. We did send out an email with a reminder of today's meeting and information on our candidates for the meeting, and invited email votes from anyone unable to attend today but wanting to participate. I have not received email votes. We would have tabulated those, but I would like to introduce our candidate for the regional commissioner position, and she is Megan Christensen from Visit Grand Rapids and from your region. And she is your current commissioner and intends to run again, would like to run again. So Megan, would you like to say a few words about your interest in continuing?
Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. As I introduced myself at the beginning, I represent the tourism and hospitality industry in Itasca County area. So Greater Grand Rapids, Minnesota is what I consider it. I am the executive director of Visit Grand Rapids. I will have been with Visit Grand Rapids for 10 years on February 1st. I have a small staff here. Sorry, got a tickle in my throat. Just the 2 of us, Lily and myself. And my reason for continuing on the Mississippi Parkway Commission is just what I said. I like to find balance in the conservation side of the Mississippi River, but I also serve business. And so finding that balance between economic development and nature conservation is really what I stand for. I think that, my background in working with the Builders Association of Northern Minnesota, I serve 7 communities. There's a lot of water and rivers in all of those communities as I serve now. And it's very important for us to preserve what we have but also we have to figure out what is that balance so that we can have this area for economic development purposes. Tourism is huge for the areas that I serve, from Grand Rapids to Brainerd. I attend on a regular basis Aiken River Trails meetings. They're the only community that has a River Trails task force, and it's awesome to work with them because they're very proactive and they have a very small group, but they get a lot done. So it's really fun to go down there because the things that they've done, I haven't been able to accomplish here in Grand Rapids, which is a larger community. I do think that, you know, I tend to bring a lot back to Grand Rapids about what Aiken does, and they're constantly telling me, yeah, we know Aiken's doing a better job of promoting their river sections. But I will say that Aiken does have the most miles in Minnesota, in Aiken County. So it's great that they do really take action on that. They've done some fun paddle events, and they just do more recognition in their community. So I think that that's great. So yeah, so that's basically me. I've lived in Grand Rapids area since 1997. My husband and I came here for jobs after we were done with college. And since then, we've built a house and had 2 children, and now my kids are in college. So I'm on to the next phase of empty nest life. So anything else, Chris, you wanted me to add?
No, thank you, Megan. Appreciate those words about your candidacy. And so I think at this point, I would ask everyone to unmute themselves. And I believe we can just probably take a voice vote on this. Diane, am I correct on that? Unless I hear any dissension. So I will go ahead and ask everyone to unmute, and the voting would be open to those who are in this region of Grand Rapids to Aiken. And so I just ask any others to abstain for now, but I would call then for consideration of a re-election for a 2-year position on the commission for Megan Christensen of Grand Rapids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none opposed, we will congratulate Megan on her re-election to the commission for a 2-year term. And thank you so much for helping us with that business. We really do appreciate it. It's very important. And that does bring us on to some time for regional updates and time to talk with you. Take your questions, get your ideas, your input, your questions. Ask if you have any anticipated requests for commission involvement or support. Let us know what's happening in your communities. Or we could also pop out and have Tim give us more of a demonstration of Plan Your Trip and the features available and how your sites are shown, if you would like to do that. So in the time we have left, we'd like to be able to go back and forth with you. I will start. I won't necessarily call you all out individually. I might call on David Kelleher a little bit if he's still here. But one thing I can tell you from your region is that we are working with the Aiken County Land Department. They are intending to submit an application for transportation alternative funding. And the commission was notified of that by MnDOT at their last meeting in November on the 18th. And they did authorize letters of support for any of those applications that go forward. And so we've reached out to their land department at Aiken County, and I've seen some emails going back and forth today. So their project is the Jacobson Wayside Rest project to kind of refurbish and work on that. So I just wanted you to know, since we have some of you here from Aiken County and the surrounding area, that is something the commission is looking at supporting right now, just so you're aware of that. And David, is there anything you would want to share about where the National Culture and Heritage Committee is at? They are kind of re-looking right now at what their criteria will be for Interpretive Center nominations. And so, David, you might not have anything you want to throw into the mix on that right now, but I'll just mention that.
Sure. As a new member of that committee, I'm not fully enmeshed in what they're working on, but at the last meeting of the group, there was a good conversation about what it really means to be an interpretive center and how different areas would provide some context on different historic sites. And we had a really interesting conversation. One of the places that wanted to be an interpretive center was a plantation in Louisiana. And we had some really interesting discussions about how they handle challenging areas of history. Obviously, plantations in Louisiana were made possible by enslaved people. So how do they treat that topic of history? Do they discuss it or not? And what do they do? And what are some of the neighboring cultural historic sites do? So that's one of the issues that we discussed. And I think our chair, John Anfinson, really wants to make those interpretive centers into a quality experience for the visitor. And I think he's right. So one of his goals is to try to talk to folks up and down the river, make sure that the interpretive centers know that they're interpretive centers for starters, and make sure that they have the tools that they need to do the job correctly. John, who recently retired from a long career at the National Park Service and Army Corps of Engineers, put his money where his mouth was and took a drive down the Mississippi River and visited interpretive centers. I know he went to Iowa and Missouri, and I'm not sure how far south he went, but I was really jealous when he described his journey down the Mississippi, because I've always wanted to do that, and someday I'm going to do that and visit all the cool places to see. But I think it was really instructive for John as our committee chair to do that, and get some good ideas of what people are doing and see where the pluses are and where there's a little bit of work needed. So
thank you.
That's what I know.
Thank you for that. And also, we do still have, on file the nomination from Aiken County for interpretive center status. And as the National Committee continues to work their way through this evolution, we haven't come back to you to suggest that you resubmit just yet as they kind of work through those changes. But I know that John Anfinson is willing to meet with you, maybe via Zoom, or to talk about options. And also there are some options that I think we could offer you in Minnesota right now. So we could talk more about some of those things now or later. But if Tim shows us Plan Your Trip, we could certainly look at updating your listings and photographs on that in the near future. And that's for any of you that are on the line with us right now. We also are always looking for Facebook content and would love to highlight you on our Minnesota Great River Road Facebook page. So if there are photographs, content, things that you'd like to share that you feel would further the Great River Road information, send those my way. That is something we can do. And also, Tim mentioned earlier that we do have an All-American Favorites page on our website now. And that's something that was launched as part of our All-American Road celebration. And we have a few favorite places in there right now. But if you go to that page and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll find a form that you can fill out and add a photograph and have your favorite place then listed on our website. And those would go through a review process for approval before they go live. But that is another opportunity that's there right now if you want to go ahead and submit. So we could have, at this point, Tim show us some of those things or talk through what each of you might want to share back with the commission, or make sure that we know about. Or Megan, how would you like to proceed as regional commissioner at this point? I'll pick on you for that. If we can.
So I'm having a hard time with my ear pod, so I'm clicking back and forth between the computer and the phone. Can you re-say what you said? It's like
you bet.
In and out. I think I'm good now.
The best way to use the remainder of our time, Meg, in your recommendation as regional commissioner, Tim could show us more about the website and that favorites page and Plan Your Trip and what's in there and how local sites can access and promote using that. Or we could go through and have everyone share information about what's going on, or a highlight or two So I would look to your guidance.
Yeah, I think it would be good for us to just share a little bit, because we do have several in the area, and they introduce themselves, but you know, like the Corps of Engineers, we have Aiken County on here, we have the Chamber. I think there are some local folks. I know that you talked about a little bit about the River Room exhibit and that they just got the designation, but it would be good for Lila to just kind of give a highlight of that, because I think that they've gotten some really, really good exposure, both in media and then just people coming in, you know, to tour it.
Very
and then
good.
we can go just to the next Corps of Engineers and then Aiken County. That would be great.
Sounds great. I'll go ahead then and I'll start picking on you all in the order that Megan listed. So I'll start with Lila and then I'll call on you after that. And if you just want to pass, just go ahead and say pass and we'll skip over you and come back. Don't feel that you have to share, but we welcome you. And so Lila, I'm calling you out first.
Okay. So I met with a 4th grade teacher last night at the River Fest closing, and it was awesome because I had an opportunity to share the river room with her, and she was just thrilled that we had it in our area. And she said, you got to tell me about it. So I went into detail about the stories that it tells on the river, about the dam breaking and the crisis that we had there. And I mentioned the oxbow. And she said, where is it? I mean, right away, curiosity is like, what is it? Where is it? And then I mentioned that we have a mural, a wall mural that's just incredible with different animals and things that are happening there. But I said, from this, we have Penny, who's a turtle, and Sandy, a snapper turtle. And we actually are working on a book. And right away, she wants the book. It was like, this is where we talk about the river and how the animals, what animals live around the river and everything that happens in the river. So our river room has started small and it just seems to be blossoming. And it's more the people that are coming in that say, oh my goodness, I have a story to tell. I have a picture to share. And so it's just growing daily. I'm not sure when I can change pictures out because so many people are saying they got to come and see it. So we're hoping as I collect these pictures and maybe have a photo contest. The other part is Megan is really recommending that we do something on the river. So we're all meeting to create a paddle boat or some kind of competition for this next year. So it just seems to be growing. I can't stop it. It's just blooming.
Thank you, Lila. And we were so happy to see the grand opening of that take place in October. And Megan was there shooting some video. I know just before you opened that day, we did post that on our Facebook page. We were happy to highlight that to the world. So congratulations. It's a lot of work behind all that. And I see Kathy next on my screen. I'm just going with who I see. If you'd like to pass, feel free. Hi, Kathy.
Hi. So Aiken, the city of Aiken is a riverboat town, and we've been known as a riverboat town for ever and ever. And we decided to use our resources that we have. Like it's been stated, the county of Aiken has the most Mississippi River miles out of the state of Minnesota. So why do we not use those? And so we're trying to promote the river as a good activity. You can be out and you can use the river, and we have created a couple different events that help support individuals get on the river and get off the river. We've been working with Tim Terrell as far as signage, and he's been working all along the northern part of the Mississippi River on signage, and he's been helping us in Aiken and promoting our events. And so we're working with a tagline that he invented. It's called Resourcetainment. So we're helping people explore the river and be on the river. And then once they get off, we have entertainment at the end. And that was our event that we had last year. We called it Paddle Your Glass Off. We had beer and wine and bourbon tasting after people were able to float down the river. We helped them enter the river. We had people helping individuals get in their kayaks. We had transport from the parking to the launch site so that they could get off the river and have their trailers available for them. And so they just had support all along the way. So as a new person, if you're not familiar with the river, it helps people feel comfortable so that they're more apt to try to do it on their own. So we are hoping to continue with our events and little by little expand away from just the city of Aiken into further parts of Aiken County and support our river trails, water trails.
Thank you, Kathy. That's great. And Lily and Megan, I'm kind of lumping you together. Is there anything else that you would like to share just because you're showing up here next on my list?
I'm going to let Lily kind of highlight some cool things that she's been working on.
Thank you.
So we did a Facebook Live with the Itasca County Historical Society when Lila opened up that room. So if anyone wants to see that video, it is on the Visit Grand Rapids Facebook page. It's 5 minutes, but it's a really cool video. If you want to share it too, I would recommend that. We just finished up wrapping up our 2022 visitor guide, and this year we kind of moved to a more picturesque kind of look. So we have a full 2-page spread dedicated to the Great River Road, and just highlighting that drivable all season. So yeah, we're pretty excited about it.
Thank you for that. That's great. Would we be able to get a copy of that, Lily, when it's ready to go?
Yeah, and then I can also send you a PDF version once she's able to send that to me.
Fantastic. That is great. Yeah. Thank you for that. Moving down. Derek, welcome. I see you next. Is there anything you would like to share from the region?
Hi. I guess not in particular. I'll just say that with the Great Lakes and Mississippi River, it's definitely a draw for tourism. Like Megan said earlier, tourism is huge within this region and the state. And things like this allow us and many of our tourism industry to promote this corridor as well as others, not only to regional and domestic tourists, but also international. A lot of countries learn about the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River in school. And so we see a lot of international travel from it. Obviously not during the pandemic, but as the borders open to vaccinated travelers, I could see a boom in international travel and wanting to see these interpretive centers and things like that. So we definitely love telling these stories. I mean, tourism is largely focused on storytelling. And so we have a lot of articles on our website already kind of centered around the Mississippi River and different road trips, but we're always looking for new things to feature. So events, our paddling events are awesome. Paddling is one of our spring summer niches. So if you have any questions on getting your events on our website or anything like that, I'm happy to help.
Great. Thank you so much, Derek. Appreciate having you here. And I see Jeff next on my screen.
Well, again, just a reminder, I'm with the Army Corps of Engineers. We are also working with Tim on putting in a couple different paddling routes, one from Winnie down to County Road 18. He's talking about another one just south of Grand Rapids going down towards Sandy Lake, and we are putting one in from the Sandy Lake Dam down through the Sandy River and into the Mississippi. So those are great ways to get people on the water. And I couldn't say anything about that without mentioning that we are the Army Corps. So as you are doing those trails, make sure to remind people to wear their life jackets, be safe out there. That's kind of our thing. So anyways, other big things we got going on is actually, which is really neat. I know it's not exactly on the Mississippi, but maybe a great stop along the road, is the Sandy Lake Dam is being completely rehabbed down in near McGregor, which is it's going to be really neat to see. They have a little museum there with a lot of interesting historical things about that site. That site has a lot of history to it, but that dam is finally getting redone, and it's going to be a lot more beneficial to us being able to regulate a little bit better. So that's kind of what we're doing. And And I will mention that I did about 2 years ago, I had a gentleman and his wife from the Netherlands come and follow the Great River Road. That was they retired, they came here, they bought an RV just to do that road, which was pretty neat. And they stopped and stayed overnight here at my campground. So pretty neat draw to this area, that's for sure.
Cool, thank you, Jeff. And when the Sandy Lake Center is kind of ready to go again, if there's a grand opening event or if you just want it announced or anything like that, we'd be happy to put something out there. So keep me posted. We'd love to know about that.
Yeah, well, I know Megan very well, and I'll keep her kind of in the loop of what's going on.
Good, perfect.
We'll go from there.
That works.
Thank you.
And Hunter, I'll call on you next.
Yeah, I think Jeff covered it pretty well here. Kind of the main thing that we've had going on is the dam rehab project, which is a kind of major thing going on here. We were closed to camping because of the rehab this last summer, and we're about halfway through. We're hoping that the rehab project will wrap up hopefully early next summer, and that we can open back up for camping. So other than that, we also had our boat ramp replaced this fall on the via our south entrance. Then yeah, as Jeff mentioned, we've been working with Tim to hopefully get some signage for paddling the river down here too. So
great, thank you so much for that. And I'll just call out, I think probably most or all of you know, but Tim Terrell is the director of the Mississippi Headwaters Board and involved with those paddling and river signage projects. So really good to hear about all that going on. Mark, any additional info for Macon County?
I think Kathy gave a great assessment. I'm just lucky enough to be a member of her committee on the river trails. But again, in economic development, we're not looking just at tourism. We're looking at the recreation and quality of life opportunities that, the river trails and all of that provide for us here in Aiken County. We're working on what would be considered the Aiken County identity. And it's a big part of water trails, lake life, recreation, quality of life type issues in order to attract businesses and other residents. So yeah, thanks to Kathy for doing what she's doing on that committee and Megan herself. And I'm glad to be a part of it. And again, excited to continue to promote Aiken County and the river trails and the Great River Road.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And then I see Mark Rudolph from the Grand Rapids Chamber. Is there anything you'd like to share, Mark?
I think almost everything has been said, but from a Grand Rapids Chamber standpoint, we are updating our website. So hopefully that enables us to work better with VGR, Visit Grand Rapids, and Megan and the Mississippi River Corridor. So we can highlight better from a chamber's perspective on the events that are taking place, especially with, an asset like this right in our backyard. So that's where we're at right now. And hopefully by the start of the new year, it will be unveiled and we'll be able to coordinate such events better.
Wonderful, thank you. Have I missed anyone? I'm looking back through and we are coming up to our time of 2 o'clock. And I've left our presentation up here just so that I didn't miss this last slide, which is thank you. A huge thank you to all of you for your time and participation today and for all that you shared, for electing your regional commissioner. Thank you to Megan for serving. And you can reach us at this email address or phone number anytime. So as you have things come up in the region, or if you have questions for the commission, or there's something you want to know more about that you started to hear about today, just reach out anytime. And I might not know the answer, but I will get back to you and do my best to find it for you. So we really appreciate your time. Are there any final comments anyone would like to share? All right, well, hearing none, I think we're pretty close to our time. So I'm pleased with that. I'm sure you all are as well, to move on to other things. Thank you so much for spending an hour with us, and we hope to see you again soon. Take care, everyone. We'll adjourn.
Thanks, Chris.